Hello, hello! Welcome to Siege of Centauri. This is a large-scale tower defense game, and it has just launched. So if you like what you see, then you can check it out with a link below in the description to the Steam store page. This is going to be a developer commentary / strategy guide, something along those lines anyway. My name is Callum McCall. I'm a designer on Siege of Centauri, and I've been working on this game for the past year, alongside many other people. So I've been largely responsible for a lot of the balance in terms of how everything fits in with the different creeps, the different towers, the different upgrades, making sure there's enough variety in terms of the actual roles that the towers do. So I've been obviously playing this game a lot of testing, a lot of tweaking, and I think I have some useful tips and tricks to share. So that's what I'll be doing today. And if you haven't seen this game before, I'll also be explaining some things. So there's a lot of stuff in here. There's all the units and towers are all explained in quite some detail in the archives. So in my absence, you can get some pretty useful tips from these. I did write a fair bit of this stuff too. Anyway, so let's go ahead and jump into the campaign. Endless mode's really cool, but of course that's like a challenge after the campaign. So I've started a new campaign here, and I'm going to go on expert, which is quite challenging. Enemy hit points have plus 100% enemies have plus 100% hit points. So yeah, they have a lot of health. So even though I played this game like a million times, because we have so many difficulty scalings, and it scales so high, it is always going to be a challenge. You know, if you want to get the high scores, if you want to put the difficulty up. I have disabled the voice, so I don't have to like talk over or wait for the voiceover to finish. This is our first mission, Limbo. It's like, I guess it's a tutorial, but one of the things about Siege is we really didn't babysit. We don't babysit the player. There's no like, okay, now press left click to build a turret. It just says, play some turrets. We're knowing our demographic that, you know, the people who play this game are gonna know how to play a tower defense game, or at least have played other RTS games and kind of know how the interface works. So when it comes to placing your towers, like all the high ground are the plateaus, it's highlighted that color, so you know where to place it. And you know the enemy paths on this map's pretty obvious. The enemies are spawning in, they're trying to go for your colony, and they're trying to horribly murder your colony. So you obviously want to not have that happen. As for like where to place your towers, you generally want to place them in a corner where you're going to maximize the angle of how long you're firing for. So if I was to place it here, I'm only firing for about 180 degrees along that pathway, whereas here I get about 270 degrees. So that's generally where you want to put your towers. Depends on what tower type it is. Oops, let's get rid of chrono shift. You can slow the game down. You can semi-pause it. It makes it very useful to do developer commentaries. But when you're playing on large maps and there's a lot of things happening, it's really good to be able to have the time to actually place things. Now, you got to be careful with this, because like if you put it too far backwards, you don't really make use of that range. Also, sometimes they can have trouble firing through cliffs and stuff, so putting them on the edges, a nice way to do it. But yeah, this mission's pretty easy, even though this is on expert with double health. It's not going to be that hard. We don't hold the player's hand, but the first couple of missions are pretty damn easy. So each of the creeps has towers that are best against them. So you can think of it like a rock, paper, scissors in terms of, say, an RTS game, where X counters Y. It's not super rigid in that sense, because the towers have a lot of different variables, like the different ways that they attack their, the cooldown and stuff. So it's not like there's magical damage multipliers that make them counter things. They have different properties that make them excel against different targets. And so the gun turrets are really good against the masochists. Particle lasers are really good versus the disruptors. The particle lasers, they will one-shot those masochists, but because there's so many of them, the slow reload can be a problem. So it isn't that particle lasers are necessarily bad against these masochists, and in these small numbers they're actually quite good. But when you start having 50, 100 plus masochists, you got to be very careful relying on the bigger towers. So that's just where throwing down heaps and heaps of these things is really good. And you can use this wave bar to see what's coming and what's good against what. So all our towers, you can upgrade them to level 2 and level 3. To do that, you first have to upgrade the colony, which gives you some other benefits too, like it gets more damage and more health, but the main thing is it unlocks the tier 2 structures, which are very cost efficient. So they cost more than building a tier 1 structure, but the value that they provide is cost efficient, so it's generally worth upgrading as soon as you can. The as soon as you can bit being so long as you don't get murdered by, spending all of your money and have no towers to defend. That's where an arc projector would come in handy. I'll just fast forward up a little bit here. This mission's pretty easy. Although I would like to get all of these challenges, so I've got to make sure I don't get lazy and stop putting down turrets. And this next wave, I may want to get a level 2 arc projector, or just another level 1 arc projector. Particle lasers against that. There's like a 3-second reload, I think, on the particle laser. Gun turrets pretty much reload instantly, so they're a bit better against the swarms, the frigates. We use the same naming convention as Ashes of the Singularity Escalation, where the frigates are the little dudes, for lack of a better term. Cruisers are the medium enemies, and the dreadnoughts are massive. Yeah, so every mission you unlock new things. So this mission, Limbo, there was only 3 towers. Very, very simple towers. But then you end up getting a lot more. And also, like, the towers get a little bit more complex. So the Corrosion Mortar is like that, where the Corrosion Mortar doesn't really fit into the rock, paper, scissors counter system. It kind of fits into its own thing, where it's really good at applying damage over time, but then you can't stack them, so you can't spam them. So now that I finished Limbo, I have 1 upgrade point, and the upgrade points, as you can probably tell, allow you to upgrade one of your towers. And there's a lot of really good upgrades, and it's kind of like being a kid in a candy store, because all the upgrades are really good. Like the shotgun turret is really good, particle laser slowing things down is really good. There's definitely a lot of amazing upgrades here that you have to choose between. Fortunately, you can just swap them anytime, so you're not locked into them. So a lot of playing through the campaign is looking at the different enemy types and thinking about what you want. Or if you actually play the mission, you know the mission and you fail it, you can just change your loadout and try again. So here I'm going to go for the particle laser with the nanite payload, because these destructors are quite tough, especially on expert difficulty. I want to just have a lot more damage to burst them down. Oh, do I not get an upgrade point? Oh, no, sorry. I'm an idiot. I was very confused. Yeah, I had one on the Corrosion Mortar. Anyway, let's jump into Sir Costa, mission number 2. This one introduces the orbital abilities, which is a big part of our game, and one of the ways of which our tower defense kind of stands out to other tower defenses on the market is that you have 8 different orbital abilities, all of which can have a massive impact. And they do certain things. Some of them are a bit more supportive, indirect. Some of them are very, very clear, blow stuff up, like the orbital strike. Not much nuance there. So this also introduces the metal refinery. So this is where you start to see more of our RTS roots come from. with the metal refinery, you hold it and you get metal per second. So, not that it is particularly impactful on a map like this. There's only a single pathway. But when you're playing on a map with many pathways, it means that you can't just funnel all of your defenses on one spot near the colony. You have to actually spread things out, and it makes it a bit more tense because there's incremental states of failure. It isn't just all or nothing. Did my colony die or did it not? It's, well, I am not dead, but I lost my metal refinery. That's going to make it harder. And the same thing for later on, you get the fission reactor, which introduces the energy income per second. So these buildings I think are really interesting as a way of forcing you to spread out, playing a bit more aggressively rather than just like, okay, I'm going to build everything here. This is my entire defensive line. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is the corrosion mortars. So notice how I have my corrosion mortar at the front. The corrosion mortar, yeah, it applies damage over time, and it lasts, I think it's 8 seconds. Yeah, 8 seconds. So you want to put that pretty early on, and then maybe another one about here. That's about 8 seconds worth of movement speed, depending on which enemies, because some are faster than others. Put some reinforcements down. So these will intercept the enemy. They will lock them in place for a short duration, meaning my towers can do their thing. So something that's really useful is you can actually upgrade your economy buildings. So the metal refinery, I'm going to upgrade that one now. It'll give me extra metal per second. Not so important on a map like this. This is actually a really slow mission. Yeah, let's rush these waves. This is level 2, so it's sort of expecting me to not quite know what I'm doing here. So even though this is on expert, it's still kind of easy. Later on though, the missions get really hard. So that's where it actually gets a challenge. What was it saying? I don't remember. Oh, I should keep using this though. To get that. Oh, I don't have arc projectors. Oops. Not that it matters. Now I don't have this objective. Maybe I could get it though. If I get rid of these gun turrets, might be able to get it. Because I think this third wave this last wave has a fair bit of Reapers too. Yeah, maybe. Ah, oh wait. That was the other objective, but that's good too, I'll take it. Yeah, there we go. So in the early missions, these objectives are pretty easy. We want to make sure players are like, yay, I did good, I did the thing, I got a gold star. And then, of course, as the campaign progresses, the gold stars aren't handed out so easily. You have to prove your worth. You have to earn those gold stars. No participation trophies. Well, for now there is. There we go. GG. Okay, scavenger module. So this is again where the complexity ramps up. You get more of the economic management. Mission 3, Holden. Alright, so next unlock point. So shotgun turrets are really useful. Because they have splash damage, so they're really good against normals, the masochists. So one of the things that you'll hear me do, and I will do it a lot, and I apologize in advance. I will refer to units as their internal reference names. So like when you're scripting a mission, if you go read the modder's guide, if you're scripting a mission and you want to spawn some masochists, you go unit underscore normal, and that's the masochist. And what is it? Unit underscore swarm is the Reaper. So, yeah. Alright, we've got the shotgun turrets. That's probably going to be good. Yeah. So scavenger modules. If you can't quite tell by the name, you get money from them. Money is very important. And especially when you're playing on the higher difficulties, a lot of the min-maxing, a lot of the optimizing and like really getting that edge which you need to do to play on expert, where they have twice the health. A lot of it is making sure that you're not wasting enemy deaths, making sure that all the enemies that you're killing are within range of scavenger modules, because they're very, very effective. So having the scavenger module, as I call Milton down, is especially important here. So a lot of these objectives serve as tutorials. Back to what I was saying earlier, like rather than holding their hand and being like, hey, you should build scavenger modules, they're really good, in a way that's kind of patronizing. What we do for a lot of these concepts that we want to introduce to players is, I actually don't have a lot of units here. Is we give them a bonus objective that's relevant. So what this one here does, produce 200 metal with scavenger modules. Already I've produced 70. This scavenger module only costed me 50 metal. So it's already paid off. And so this teaches you, hey, you should really build scavenger modules. They're really, really good. Now, we'll see how many people actually notice that. But it's a nice way of encouraging the player to try different things, and it's like show, don't tell, which I'm quite fond of. Level 2 colony now, so I can upgrade these gun turrets. Now these missions are pretty short, so like upgrading level 2 colony isn't you know, important necessarily. So that's why we don't tell the player about upgrading the colony until later on. We don't even tell the player to upgrade the colony either. It's one of those things that, again, you kind of work it out yourself. You got to upgrade a tower and you go, requires level 2 colony. And then one of the missions has an objective, or a few of them, I don't remember. Like one of them's level 2 colony, and then another one's level 3 colony, so it gets you in the habit of doing it. So yeah, shotgun turrets are really good. So they actually have quite a small splash. It's only 25 AoE. But when units are engaging, they clump up. So you can see the shotguns are hitting a lot. So I'm a big fan of shotgun turrets, especially against these masochists. Because you can counter Reapers with arc projectors pretty well. But yeah, masochists can be tricky, especially because as the difficulty goes up, it kind of affects the way that you have to play. So like, for example, if you're playing on normal, and especially if you're playing on lower difficulties, you can just spam arc projectors and they'll take out masochists, and they'll be good at it too, because they don't do splash, but they do multi-target, so they hit like, you know, 20 units at once. And if you have 4 of them, you'll one-shot a masochist, a masochist flock. But if you're playing on expert, you need 8 shots, and so that's not really viable anymore. You kind of have to use the counters a bit more deliberately. Shotguns are really good against the healers as well. I need to use Milton again. So it's still pretty simple so far. I also, because I'm a super cheating developer, I could even use my developer fast forward. Because I saved Milton for this end wave, means there's pretty safe here. He'll clean up. Milton is really good, especially against swarms, because he has the splash attack with those rockets. He's really good against Reapers like this. He's good in general because he has pretty high damage, but he falls off against heavier enemies, especially with shields. Within range of the scavenger module still, or somewhat, mostly. So yeah, GG. 14%. This is really useful information as well. It tells you how much impact your towers are having, which for some towers isn't quite obvious. Like the corrosion mortar, because it's damage over time, it's not always easy to see how much impact it's actually having. Now this is where the game starts to get a little trickier, because now there's two pathways. You have to think about where you're putting the towers. As for this map, what do I want to run here? There's the clutch of eggs, which is pretty tough. There's also the kill 75 enemies with particle lasers objective. So I'm going to go polar reactor. Aeris reactor is a super good upgrade too. You fire 2 shots and it's about a 50% reload increase. So you're increasing the DPS by about 50%, which for a tower like the Minos cannon is super good. But so far there isn't any heavy cruisers. There's a clutch of eggs, but there's only one, so that's not a big deal. So between the railgun, the shotgun, and the particle lasers, that's all I need really. And then, you know, I got Milton still, so it's pretty good. So because there's 2 pathways, you have to use this wave panel to see where the units are coming from. Tells you where they're coming from the right, coming from the left, so that makes life much easier. So once again, where do I put the towers? I put them on a position where I can make full use of their, or most of their angle. Now there's not a lot of space there. So because the problem is once I put down my scavenger module, I only can really fit about like 5 turrets. So I might be better off just stacking it here, because then both pathways go through. But for now, I'll just put them here. You know, there's still, you know, a decent amount of room. Go from the right. Get a particle laser as well. Start getting the objectives. Now with particle lasers, you got to be careful about stacking them together. It depends on what you're trying to kill, that is. If I'm trying to kill normals, the masochists, they often overshoot the same target and waste their 3-second reload. So spacing them out slightly means they typically won't do that, but then still making use of the scavenger module. Whereas if I was to put them, say, directly next to each other in the case of those gun turrets, that's where you often will see them just overkill the same target, which is very, very, very bad. That being said, if you want to kill things like destructors, then, you know, stack them together. I'm actually a little bit short of cash here. That particle laser was a little unnecessary, but I have Milton, so that's fine. And of course, I'm always putting my scavenger modules down at the start, making sure they pay off. Even though I have no turrets, I still have Milton. Let's get a Corrosion Mortar too, because they are very good. It's on both sides, yeah. So again, I might want to put this particle laser down here, because there's less chance for them to both overkill the same masochist. Whereas if I spread them out all over the map, then my scavenger modules won't be as effective. However, I have enough cash, so whatever. It's like that. Perfect. Gonna rush the wave, I'm doing pretty well. So one of the things about rushing waves is it means that you can make more use of Milton. So I should have actually rushed that wave even earlier. Because he's about to time off, he only lasts a short duration. He's gonna die now. Maybe get like 1 missile salvo off. Come on, get him. He fired 2 missiles, then he died. Now I need to get some arc projectors because there's a lot of Reapers coming. There is a few railguns, so that should be okay. Nice. So with arc projectors, I didn't bother spacing them out. I mean, that wasn't really intentional, because they instantly kill. They do 25 damage and they deal it as soon as they hit something. So that they can't possibly overkill. So you really don't need to worry about spacing them out in that sense. Here is the clutch of egg. So we have a walking unit, very, very tough unit. That's why we teach them, like, hey, you should build a Minos cannon because it's very, very tough. Minos cannon does a lot of damage. 1,200. This thing has, I think it's 16,000. It's because it's double 8,000. Yeah, it's just walking past. It'll eventually go down to all these lasers though. And what I want to do is actually use reinforcements to aggro it within range of all my cannons. I did a bit late with that actually, because now it's out of my range of my particle lasers. Because then while it engages these reinforcements, even though they die pretty fast, they don't walk out of range of my particle lasers. Whereas if I was to save this and use it in front of my colony, well, what's there? There's 2 particle lasers. It's not really a big deal. Now Milton will clean up. So the clutch is a really cool unit. It's a walking spider, and when it's killed, it drops hatchlings. And one of the cool implications for the clutch is it means that you can't just put all your defenses at the entrance to the map. You have to kind of space things out a little bit. Okay. Kalak. Now we have the pulse cannon. So one of the mistakes that I should explain this one first. The pulse cannon ignores shields. So when you're versing shielded units, like the Eradicator, which is color-coded as blue, it ignores the shields and goes for the health directly. What you want to do is you want to either spam pulse cannons to kill that, or just overwhelm them with like heaps of damage, like Minos cannons. Players often build both, because I guess it's kind of like they look at the tooltip and go, oh, I should build 2 of them. Anyway, what do I need? I have shotguns, of course, because I love shotguns. They're really good. Corrosion Mortar would actually be quite good now. Let's get Binding Agent, because the map it's a little longer now, although still getting the volatile. Yeah, I'm gonna get volatile. Ares Reactor, sorry, the double shot for the Eradicators, because they're a bit tougher now. And let's get the slow as well. Yeah. Okay. They come from the right and they're masochists, so surprise, surprise, let's spam gun turrets. Well, technically railgun turrets. They used to be called just gun turrets, but railguns sounds a bit cooler. Of course, have my scavenger module down there. Let's put a corrosion mortar. Because by the time it shoots at someone, they should be within range of this thing. It's actually quite a tough wave. Now, it's okay if one sneaks through, because those drones on the fission reactor. Nice. I'll rush 3 waves. Let's do that. And this has the upgrade too, doesn't it? So it lasts even longer. Still within range of the scavenger module. And now they're coming from here, so let's get a corrosion mortar there too at the start. And then we'll focus my defenses down here. So, because you want to put your defenses somewhere that you can start firing at units that have already been wounded by the corrosion mortar. them. And making sure that I'm using my reinforcements within range of all of my turrets. You can see how much damage it's doing. This is on expert with double health, so very, very powerful. Oops. This is the Reaper Wave. I have Milton, so the Reapers aren't really a threat to me at the moment. I'll upgrade my colony just because. And I can upgrade my arc projector if I want to. That'll help against this many Reapers, but no biggie anyway. So upgrading shotgun turrets doesn't actually help you against Reapers because they one-shot them anyway, I'm pretty sure. They have... The Reaper has 20 health, it's 10 by default. And they probably do that much damage anyway, 50 per hit. Yeah, so it helps against heavier targets. Like normals. You would definitely want to upgrade shotguns against masochists. And yeah, these upgraded particle lasers are really good. Upgraded Corrosion Mortar 2 is so good. That one healer. Yeah, so now I might want to actually upgrade these shotguns. What else is there? I just need to get a Minos cannon and then I'll be fine. So like that, they're clumping up. The shotgun's doing a lot of damage. Now the Corrosion Mortar is, it's partly nullified by the fact that the shields regenerate. It's still really good having them though, especially when you level them up and you're doing a lot more damage. It just means that you can't have too much of a space like in between where you have your Corrosion Mortar and when you have your actual towers, because it will regenerate once that corrosion wears off. So now I'm looking at, because these units are much slower, the Corrosion Mortars are wearing off probably about here. So put another one down there. Squash that last wave too. Yeah, so I was able to just power through this. I didn't need the pulse cannons, but I could have also just built like 6 pulse cannons here. Would have been also good at taking those out. Which is what I mean by the fact that we don't have an overly rigid rock, paper, scissors. Something that was really important to us. Rather than just having like every unit has a tower good against it. It's a bit more flexible than that. There's multiple ways to counter every unit. The Reapers, I have the arc projectors, the shotguns, mortars, artillery posts, Milton, all kinds of stuff. Speaking of Milton, upgrade that just because. Alright. Yeah, here we go, light mortar. It's actually a shame I don't have the scoreboard. It's because I'm playing like a dev build, so it doesn't have the leaderboard. Something that I should do at some point is actually try hard. Is like put it on Nightmare and see if I can try to like get some high scores. Because the higher you play, the more your score goes up. I mean, I'm sure there's some players that are just like way better than I will be. You'd never be surprised how like the extent that some people can get like can do really well. Like King of the Hill in Ashes, that endless survival mode of escalation. Okay, so what do we have here? This is where pulse cannons become a lot better because you have like multiple shielded units. Yeah, I'm gonna actually go for the pulse cannon here. Let's get... The disruption's a really good ability. It's a pretty high stun chance. It's 1% stun chance, but it fires like 5 shots in a volley, so it's a pretty high chance actually. Their range is pretty good too. The corrosion, well, yeah, I didn't have the upgrade. Let's get that upgrade. How many normals are there? There's not a lot really. I kind of want to get rid of shotguns, and now I'm gonna get this range upgrade. So like I kind of know these missions a lot because I played them a lot. So it's a little cheating for me to kind of know what the biggest threats are. But that's why we have this information here, is it tells you like, hey, this thing's coming, prepare. And railguns are still nice without the shotguns. Depends on how many massacres you're versing. And now also, because I have this mortar, mortars are quite nice. I like them generally more than the arc projector, but the arc projector has some benefits. Like, it's good against the capacitors, the really fast frigates, because it always hits. It's instant projectile, where the mortar can miss those fast units. Anyway, so what do I have? Pulse cannon, corrosion mortar, particle laser. That sounds good to me. I am happy with that. So the challenge of this mission is kind of working out the enemies, where they're going. Because there's only a single path to the colony. You can defend it there pretty easily. But then you run the risk of failing that bonus objective, which of course is very important to me. However, again, the fact that I know all the spawns is like a little cheating. So let's rush you. We're going to rush these waves because of this objective. Because you got to beat it in 6 minutes, and it's kind of hard to do that without rushing waves. Let's get one light mortar here. Oops. Oh, nice. Get him. Oh, he's out of range. Feels bad. See, that's where the the range upgrade's nice. Man, this is a hard wave now. The nullifier coming up. I got Milton. If I get a pulse cannon overcharge, I mean that's probably enough to kill it. Is that? Oh man, that range. So it's like range upgrade is one of those things that it doesn't sound that good until you're in a situation like this, and it's like polar reactor, 25% range come at me. Now with these nullifiers, you got to make sure you preemptively overcharge. Can I even reach that? Yeah, nice. You can overcharge like within the first ring, so I want to overcharge about over here, and then I should be able to kill that one. Especially if I start getting a couple of stuns. Maybe not. It's fine. I'll get another pulse cannon up here. So these outposts don't actually matter. You can lose them, it doesn't do anything apart from your score. No. Oh, he's just out of range. Damn it. Well, that outpost is going down. Ooh, Corrosion Mortar on this side. And some particle lasers. Damn it. I didn't get a scavenger module. You get a fair bit of metal from the heavy cruisers, so they pay off really fast. Like, I don't have one there, do I? Let's get one now. More eradicators. Let's actually rush this other wave too. Some more mortars for those. He goes left. Okay, let's get more pulse cannons for those eradicators, more mortars for those reapers. And that should be a wrap. And then I'll overcharge another pulse cannon. So one thing that you want to avoid doing is building towers in a situation like this where you're only going to be firing for about half of your duration. You're better off building it here, where then you can really make use of its full attack range. And let's overcharge one too. Might lose that outpost, that's fine. Yeah, so I rushed a few waves, so I'll finish this within time. It's like I'm trying hard to get the score, but I can't even see the score because of the leaderboard. Well, I know what my score is, but I don't know what that is in relation to other players. Okay, so that's a pretty tough mission. So yeah, it's ramping up now. Nahan T. This one could be tricky too. So this one, well, you definitely need the Nova Cannon. You also want the Minos Cannon too, because the clutch has no shields. You can tell by the icon. And so again, the two kind of strategies in terms of how do I counter shielded units is either do I spam pulse cannons like in that game, or do I just go maximum damage with the Minos Cannons? Especially then later on, you get more like shield disabling towers. The Nova Cannon is good versus shielded frigates, but it's, you know, decent against like shielded cruisers. So let's get rid of the pulse cannons because the clutch is going to be a problem. If I just spam shield ignoring, shield bypass the pulse cannon, that won't help me at all against the clutch. So let's go. The field leak is really nice to have. Corrosion Mortars is good. Minos Cannon Ares Reactor is good. Particle Laser is good. Although getting... I like this upgrade too. Colony Interface. Cheaper upgrade colony upgrades. Means you can upgrade your towers quicker, which can be very useful. But this, I don't think I'm... Actually, there's a bonus objective. Yeah, level 2 colony. So you know what? I am going to do that. Let's get rid of Apollo Reactor. Let's get colony interface. Field leak. Yeah, nice. Field leak is very, very nice against shielded cruisers because they regen quite fast. Then even shielded dreadnoughts too. They get crazy regen. Okay. So with this mission, you have the power cells. You click them, they blow up. Rushing waves is actually kind of good. As you may be able to predict here, you rush them all, and then you blow them up. Now you got to be a little bit sensible of that because the power cells, they're not so good against heavy cruisers. You can also use reinforcements to stall them in the range. So here, wait until they get through the massive flock of Reapers and then just blow them to hell. Like here, perfect. Got a lot of metal from that too. Might use the next one there too. Yeah. Now let's get a Nova Cannon. It's going to really help against the Martyrs. And now all the shields get drained and they get cleaned up by these gun turrets. These Eradicators are a bit of a problem though. I also forgot that I don't have the shotguns. That would have helped. What I want next is a Minos Cannon here. Especially because I can overcharge it. Oh man. Although I kind of want to save this with reinforcements. I can probably overcharge and reinforcements. Yeah. Let's overcharge this. And then as soon as I can, I will... Reinforcements. Come on, come on. Obviously you want to keep that alive. Get extra metal from it. Yeah, and the shields are quite low now already because of the that Minos Nova Tower doing some good work. Let's get another Minos Cannon too. So the Corrosion Mortar is especially good against the Clutch of Eggs because it has no shields. So it doesn't regenerate. Let's get another reinforcement spawn down here. I'm gonna get an arc projector because there's a fair bit of these hatchlings. And the hatchlings are quite tough. They're tougher than Reapers. Might lose this, but that's fine. I still got another energy cell as well. So when you upgrade the scavenger module, you don't get any more a scavenge rate. Like it's not more efficient. It's a lot larger. So it's cost efficient in terms of like building multiple scavenger modules is more expensive, but you don't get more metal from each enemy destroyed. So here again, I stored them with reinforcements, which means that they clump up, so I can detonate the energy cell and get maximum damage. I'm going to take some damage on my colony, wait for them to all clump up. And then party time here. I can't wait too long. Can't wait forever. Here we go. So, yeah, you don't have to rush the waves for that mission. You can kind of chill and take it a little slower, but that's the more fun way of doing it, especially for that energy cell upgrade. So, I need to use the bathroom real fast. I'll be back. Okay, let's do Terraria, Mission 8. This map's much bigger, and it introduces air units. So hence we have the Icarus Sam, the anti-air turret. What do we have? Still Nova Cannon. Field Leak, yeah, good upgrade. I want that. There's a lot of shielded units here. What else do I want? Shotguns are always good. Polar Reactor is always good. Icarus, there's not a lot of air units, so I don't feel like I have to upgrade the Icarus Sam on this mission. Though the upgrades are pretty good. Violent Overload, Ares Charge. Yeah, let's just get a poly reactor. You know, why not? Actually, you know, no. I don't have shotguns. So I don't have like any good splash. So let's actually get shrapnel core. Let's get more splash on my mortars. I'll use those instead of shotguns for anti-reaper anyway. That's my plan. Let's do it. Let's make it work. Oh yeah, I'm just bypassing all the story elements, you know. If you want to actually experience the story, then by all means. So one of the things that you can do is you can upgrade the colony really early on and upgrade your economy buildings, like the metal refinery. Really, really good to do that. It doubles the metal per second and it pays off pretty fast. All right, let's make sure I can get the scavenge. Salvage, scavenge. I use those words interchangeably. Scavenge, salvage, you know, whatever, close enough. Of course, you have to be a little careful if you're just rushing your colony to, you know, because then this happens. Then you have no towers at all. But, you know, you can, it's fine. Especially on a map that's pretty big, because then you can just use Milton. I mean, now I think I'll use reinforcements. But then, you know, not long until I have Milton, and then I can hold off pretty easily. Especially for like the level 2 corrosion mortar, it's so good. Oh wow, I may actually fail this bonus upgrade, bonus objective. Come on. Ah, no, I'm gonna fail it, aren't I? Oh well. I guess I shouldn't have built like all those scavenger modules if I was concerned about getting the objective, which, you know, now that I failed it, I'll pretend that I don't care about it, but in truth, I actually just want it. Now, I offset that a little bit so I can get the air path. Control brings up scan mode. It desaturizes the map so you can see units much easier, and then you see the air path, so that is quite nice. I have level 2 stuff, so yeah, let's get level 2 corrosion mortar. Let's get level 2 regular mortar, medium mortar. I should probably upgrade this too, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Aircraft, yeah. It's coming, Reapers. Let's, yeah, upgrade that. Let's get a mortar here as well. Oh man, look at that. Yeah, so when they clump up to attack the reinforcements, the splash damage from that mortar is so sick. Especially because I got that range upgrade, the AoE upgrade rather. So, make it rain. Yeah. I can overcharge that if I really want to. But right now my biggest threat is the Eradicator. So I'm going to get a Corrosion Mortar. But this is where you got to be careful of the regenerating shields. So if I get a level 2 Corrosion Mortar, it does heaps of damage, but by the time they get to here, it's like they're pretty much regened. So let's also get a Nova Tower. Get that shield shred. Combine it with the field leak upgrade, means that they no longer regen. Very, very nice to have. Oh, I actually need to get some anti-air. Let's hit a couple level 2 Icaruses. Yeah, they're coming. And that is air units. So they fly over the map. They attack move, so they'll go for my fission reactor. Man, I love that mortar, is so good. Oh no. He got a big clump though out of the scavenger module range. Now here also I gotta be careful that I don't get kills out of the scavenger module range. That should be fine though. Yeah, nice. Let's upgrade that too, just to make sure I finish them off. Let's get another particle laser so I can take out these eradicators. Oh no, the Nova Cannon's out of range. I really should have put it over here. That would have been a better spot for it, because then it would have fired when they went around the corner. I actually have a lot of... Let's just throw down Northman. They have a lot of energy. What's next? Clutch of Eggs. So this is where the Corrosion Mortars are extra sick. I already had that rant, but I'll spare you from it again. And of course, there's Martyrs coming too. So one Nova Cannon here. The Nova Cannon, or Nova Tower. Nova Tower does splash shield, so it just murders these Martyrs. You need to finish it off with something else. So if I do this, get a mortar here, it's a pretty nice follow-up. The Eradicator should get cleaned up. We're going for this metal refinery though. So one of the reasons where the arc projector was good is because it's more consistent. Because sometimes the mortar the mortar targets based on proximity. So if there's one unit that's like slightly behind, it'll attack him. And then you won't get like the full splash. But the arc projector, it attacks like 20 enemies regardless. So it doesn't matter how they're positioned, it'll just attack all of them immediately. So like in that situation, it was nice to have the arc projector. Oh, this one's getting through. Might lose the fission reactor. Oh well. Also, upgrading the arc projector gives them more damage, so it's really good against heavier frigates like the hatchlings, because they have a fair bit of health. More so than the Reapers anyway. So same with the mortars, they get more damage. So upgrading them is especially good. You know, not only are you increasing the AoE and like the range, you're also increasing the damage. This is a really good upgrade. Oh no! Another upgrade. Another objective, I mean. There we go. Trier completed. Now we have drones. Nice. Nova Cannon, 71%. Yeah, they do a lot of damage. Okay, Galaholt. Use overcharge 6 times. Achieve victory on hard or higher. Joke's on you. I'm already doing it on expert. Okay, now this is a bigger and a longer map. And actually drone bays are very nice. I like drone bays. So this upgrade is so good. Mass fabrication, 25% cheaper. What a bargain. But of course, this map too, this is where the Apollo reactor comes in really handy for these Icarus SAMs. You'll see why. So I kind of want to get that, actually. Venus Cannon, I definitely want the Ares reactor because there's both clutch and there's eradicators. I have Binding Agent, which is really good. I don't have shotguns, which makes me a little sad. I also don't really need it though. I have drone bays. And drone bays are quite nice too against masochists. I have Field Leak, which is really good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I didn't need to change anything. I also have the colony interface. Let's do Galaholt. And, oh, it's already been an hour. Jeez. Okay, well, you know what? Change of plan. Let's go ahead and end the video here. It's been an hour. I think an hour is enough for part 1 of this Siege of Centauri developer walkthrough / strategy guide / rambling. So if you like what you saw, you can pick up your own copy. There's a link in the video description below for the Steam page. Thanks. See ya.